Greetings and salutations, Focuz Up family. Welcome to the October 26, 2024 installment of the Focuz Up Show. We thank you for tuning in with us live every Saturday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and various other platforms, catching up with us on replay. And we ask that you click that like, that subscribe, that bell, and share to support and maintain your weekly Focuz Up fix. I am Mr. Nice Guy. Nice as in the word saint, spelled backwards. And today my co-hosts are, we got our Minister of Information, Student X. Let me switch you guys. You guys are in the wrong order over there. But we got Miss Brother Walk, host of Sex Talk Walk, Thursday at 9 p.m. And then we got the infamous El Pooh, star of Spin That Back, Saturday at 10:30 a.m. And I should have brought up as well as, a Student X is a star. He doesn't like to call himself a star, but he's a star of Mutant Politics. That's also on Saturdays at 10:30 a.m. when Spin That Back isn't going on. And then we got the man over there, Mr. Floyd X. He doesn't like to be called the boss, but he's the boss. So, we don't have First Lady J today. She had to take care of some serious stuff. So we're rooting for you and holding you up in our prayers, First Lady J. And we really wanted you to be on the show today because we've been accused of Kamala bashing, but she might get bashed now that you're not here to represent. But we know that Brother Omar, he said he is going to be coming on, so he'll be coming on shortly as well. So that having been said, what's going on with you, brother? Hold on one second. This is how I got to do this. I'm sorry. I need to see where I expect to see. What's going on with you, Brother Walk? You're muted. I'd love that to stay that way, but go ahead.
Just got back from New Orleans. Just was out there in the bayou, baby. Chopping toolers with my dad. It was my pop's birthday. He turned 77. Went out there, represented, had a good time. It was real cool. I'm hungover. New Orleans, baby.
Happy birthday to Pops.
That's exactly what I was about to say. 77 years old.
Yep.
What's going on with you, Student X?
Bro, it's my favorite time of year. We have World Series going on. The NBA just started, and we have NFL. Beautiful time. Everything's Gucci.
That's what's up. Too bad my football team is terrible. But what's going on with you, Mr. Floyd X?
Same old thing. Just got back from New Orleans. Also celebrated my pops and things like that. Had a good time out there. Went to go see some alligators and things of that nature on the swamp tour. So it was cool.
Hey man, did you ever have to deal with those like outside of the coming up on the property or anything like that?
No. We used to live in Florida, and we heard about sightings, but I never seen them except when I worked at NASA. They had a resident alligator that was on the property that you just stay away from, but he was on the property. He didn't harm nobody.
Like two big things right there: working for NASA and having a resident alligator. So,
right on the property.
Infamous El Pooh, what it do?
Hey, glad to be back. Blessed and happy to be here. And I just want to say one thing too, celebrating the Dodgers with that walk-off grand slam last night, game 1 of the World Series. We're about to take it home.
Hey, can you explain the grand slam to some people might not know?
Okay, the grand slam is the breakfast that you get at Denny's. No, it's when all bases are loaded and they hit a home run. So he was up. It was 9th inning. He hit
walk
off. There it is.
Yeah, so it's the bottom of the 10th inning. So the bottom line is they were up. The Yankees were up 3-2. So you're already basically in overtime for all intents and purposes. So you only have these 3 outs to get a score. If you don't, the other team wins. So they had 2 outs. The bases were loaded. And what did they have 2 outs at that point? I think they did. And
I think it was 2 outs too.
Yeah, 2 outs. So this is crucial. This is it or nothing. And I mean, the first pitch, I was watching the Laker game. So I'm sitting there watching. I was watching both of them, but I was presently looking at the Laker game. And everybody in the Laker game went cheering. And the announcer was like, everybody's cheering, but they ain't cheering because of what's happening on the court. The Dodgers just hit. And I looked up at the screen, was like, damn, I missed it. Like literally the first pitch. He just, out of the park. So, that's what's up, So, yep.
Great game.
Dodgers and Yankees. That's the
Doyers,
Doyers. Greatest sports rivalry other this side of the Celtics and Lakers. So that's what's up. With that having said, we got brother Afro Agnostics in the house. What's going on with you, brother?
Hey, peace, brothers.
See, I see you got the background. You got the home background. You got the home background. You look like Dora the Explorer over there.
I was trying something different out.
Hey, it's dope. Welcome to the show, brother. Glad you're here. So, I guess it's time to get to the get. We talk about some of these real things. So, first up, let's do an RIP. We just recently lost a DJ Clark Kent. Now, I wanted to ask you before the show, so I wouldn't seem so ignorant. But wasn't he the DJ for Dana Dane?
Yeah.
He was, yeah. So, and he did a lot of big things after that. So, DJ Clark Kent, that was a brother that was still putting it in. And I believe did he die of prostate cancer?
I don't know.
Yeah, but that's tough. I think he was only like 57 or something like that. But I mean, get checked. This is some real type stuff. We are at that age where, don't play around with this. It's a shame.
Didn't he discover?
And I would add, don't just get checked, but be proactive. There are things that we could do health-wise that, absolutely can lower the odds, that some of these ailments develop.
Amen.
And I want to say really quick, not to take away from the greater point, but I think in terms of hip hop, he was an integral figure in hip hop, but like a lot of the big, Jay-Z, and many others, he was the man behind the scene making a lot of connections. I've heard. Clark Kent.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that too.
Yeah.
And he produced a lot of good songs too, like Brooklyn's Finest with Jay and Big.
Wow.
Rise the Limit, Big and 112. Yeah.
Hey man, I gotta say though, he say, excuse my language, he say, nigga, please, like short sleeves, I bear arms. I mean, that line was like, man, that was a killer. Yeah.
Bars are always the excuse to curse.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Brother Walker, do you remember what you were about to say?
Oh no, I was like, didn't he discover Big or something like that, or
he played a big role in Big. Yeah.
Rest in peace to the brother DJ Clark Kent.
I was trying to give him a horn for that, but for whatever reason, I don't see it on my screen. So, that having been said, salute to that brother DJ Clark Kent. That having said, let's get into some of these topics. First topic, we're going to be talking about Kamala Harris double standard. Now, one of the things that the reason why we are speaking about this is that, we've been accused of being a super pro-Trump, outfit. And, we're not a monolith. We got some people that are pro-Trump. We got some people that are pro-Kamala. But what was really talking about was the scrutiny. We had, what's his name? Charlemagne the God was on CNN with I think, what was his name?
Anderson Cooper.
Yeah. And he was saying that, look, you guys, you put all this energy on talking about, whether she's black or just whatever situation is. But you guys, what the elephant in the room is you guys are not talking about the fact that, him being a fascist. And I'm not talking about if he may be a fascist, that he's actually a fascist. And he goes on to list some things. And that having been said, I want to say that Van Jones said that, that they're not taking the same exam. He said that Donald Trump gets to be lawless, but she has to be flawless. So that's really kind of the premise. And I'm sure that everybody on this panel doesn't agree with that assessment, but I do think there is some hypocrisy there. Go ahead, Brother Walt.
Any man who cried like a little girl over Joe Biden, you don't get no props, and you don't get to tell me nothing, homie. I don't care nothing what Van Jones said, especially about Kamala Harris. Listen, it's all about substance. That's what she's lacking. She gets on there, she gets in the interviews, and she go, I grew up in the middle class city. They got a whole skit on that. Some kids, this kid is like, a parent is like, did you do your homework? I grew up in the middle class family. It's funny. That's what the point is. I'm not bashing the lady no more because this race.
Let me ask you this. What? Do they cover Trump's topics like he was talking about the enemies within? Is that covered as the same amount as Kamala Harris is covered and attacked? Is he attacked
Well,
as much?
He got beat the hell up over that "they're eating the dogs" comment for like a good 2 weeks, and that was like, okay, don't even talk about that no more because it did get covered. It was kind of foolish, you know. Yeah,
I mean,
think so.
CNN was known for being, anti-Trump, and also for the initial stand for the Crying Negro Network. You know what I mean? This is it's classic that, that CNN, are biased, against Trump and their very liberal commentators, is well known.
Does Fox have bias?
I think.
I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
I said, does Fox have bias against the Democrats?
Absolutely. Fox is the flip side of the coin.
Okay, got you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then MSNBC is, even more hardcore, liberal and to the left.
But brother Afro Agnostics, what were you about to say?
Okay, so I mean, quickly, I come from a school of thought where you have a big problem in terms of liberation of people are systems of oppression. Racism, we most notable, in our situation as Black people. But, you also have capitalism. A lot of people may not see that as a system of oppression. You have sexism and patriarchy. A lot of people don't see those, or homophobia, as systems of oppression. But out of all of those I just mentioned, patriarchy, sexism is the largest. Has lasted the longest in human history. So if you didn't see a double double standards are a hallmark of oppression. So if you didn't see a double standard in the presidential campaign, that would be very odd because you see double standards in every area of human activity based around sex and gender. That's part of the problem. It's not necessarily about, I agree with Walt. I don't like Van Jones. He cries like a baby, but he does bring up a point when he says that, he's a sellout too, but I'm saying, but when he says that he gets to be lawless and she has to be flawless, that's a statement that's bigger than their individual campaigns. It really speaks to sexism and patriarchy. Women do carry a double.
You think that's a true statement?
With that statement he said is he's a crybaby. I don't agree with most of 99% of what he said. But that
the lawless versus flawless bar.
Yeah, but he had to be very specific to let you know what he was gonna co-sign.
Yeah. No, I mean, when it comes to this, and I mean, I really hate to see the masses of our people, to fall for this, because honestly, man, there is no double standard that's popping off. Everything is fair game in love, war, and politics. This is where it's at right now. And it's up to the voters to be able to siphon through, the reality of the charges and whatnot. But, the Democrats are known for these one-liners, bars, if you will, but, it just often lacks substance. For example, you want to talk about double standard. The double standard is the fact that Trump has been repeatedly accused of being a Nazi, and being a pro-Hitler, when it is in fact the Democrat Party that is literally supporting financially a Nazi regime in Ukraine. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up, so the double standard, is, again, not pointing out the hypocrisy that's taking place on the left and then trying to make Trump the boogeyman.
I don't think they're calling him Hitler, but go ahead.
Trump did say he wants some generals like Hitler.
Yep.
He did just make this comment. He didn't just. You know what? This had came out a long time ago, but it just came back up again.
But I'm saying, independent of Trump or Kamala, independent of them, if they never even existed, the double standard still would be there. It would exist between a male presidential candidate and a female presidential candidate, just simply because of the difference in sex and the reality of sexism. Like, even just if you just simply look at the rhetoric, she's the first presidential candidate who's been called by her first name repeatedly. No one else is. I mean, that's just rhetorically, but we can look in other areas, the same way women get judged for promiscuity. The word bitch was actually coined to give, some type of mental punishment or criticism to women who were loosely sexual like men, because, there's a double standard there. That's why Judge Brown, we're going to talk about it later, can use like sexist language to put her down, calling her a sleaze, and it resonates because of sexism. It's already embedded in our DNA as men and, women too, because they live in it.
I mean, I would have to disagree, but the thing is that it's not based on sexism.
Disagree. Disagree with
So
what?
in terms of some of the references in terms of her sexual identity.
No, I'm talking about sexism. I'm talking about sexism though, as a system of oppression. Not about her. They can never exist. I'm talking about the reality that pre-existed before they even ran, that will create a situation where there will be a double standard in a presidential race between a male and a female. It has nothing to do with them personally. It's the reality of sexism. Do you agree that patriarchy is a system of oppression?
No, I don't. That's a liberal talking point. You know what I mean? I think it's a natural order of things. In terms of men's their position inside of society. We are the ones who build civilizations. From the ground up. We're the ones who the buildings you see, the bridges you see. It wasn't females out there, laying steel and laying iron. It was men that were doing that.
Bro.
He is the man's advocate. I want you to look at what it says under his name. He is the man's
advocate. Ahead of racial identity.
I mean, he's making a good point too. You got to look at. Come on, bro. You got to look at it like this, though.
Okay, go ahead.
You can't have a woman you can't have a woman in gestation out here doing manual labor. That's not going to work. A man doesn't go through that.
What do you mean?
I'm saying if a woman is pregnant, she ain't gonna be able to do the things that a man can do. She can never be equal to a man. She can't build.
But when it comes to war, what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna be in no war with no woman soldier. I'm sorry.
Hey, my wife is a soldier. If we got to do business, I'm gonna have my gun. She's gonna have her gun, and she's gonna be a very good, person to go to war with. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know about the women that you deal with, but yeah,
I ain't mad at you.
Okay, I think
I'm mad at you, but I'm gonna tell you like this: it's your natural.
I'm trying to get. Okay, I think I perceive a misperception because I think folks are looking at the power that men have, being empowered. You're looking at that as an outcome of natural forces. It's not an outcome of natural forces. It's an outcome of one group hoarding power and oppressing another group. I'm saying the oppression of women. Hold on, we go pretend like women couldn't vote until 1920. White women. That didn't exist 3 centuries in the United States.
No one's pretending. I'm not pretending at all.
Is that disempowerment or empowerment?
I mean, it all depends how you're looking at it. If you're looking at depends how you look. Let me explain my point of view. My point of view is the vote used to be, made by the family, which the man was, the head of that family, and then through that vote, it represented the whole of that family. But today, obviously, there's a whole different, value system, a whole different construct. So under that, obviously, not only should a woman have, the right to vote, but now 18-year-olds and what?
Hey, let me
now has that made our society better? I can't say that it has, but it is what it is.
Hey, our brother at Lebron Trucker wants to put up a disclaimer. We can go through it. We can go through it real quick. He said, disclaimer to the viewers that I know and long-term followers. Although we have lost, we have a host that follow Trump and think less of women. We are not an affiliate of Fox News. Now, I don't think anybody on here thinks less of women. Does anybody in this panel think less of women?
In fact, a strong man.
Wait, hold on, real quick. Now, nice guy said it depends.
I think what you mean by less of,
I do.
Argument. Yeah, I think they're. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, nice guy. I want to hear your point. I want to hear your point, nice guy.
I think the arguments that are being made is that they're thinking less of women. It doesn't mean that they think that women are like dogs, but they don't think that they're women like men.
They call them female dogs, though. That's a frequent term in the culture.
Exactly. So I'm just saying that I do think a lot of these arguments.
Nobody on this show.
Someone did on the show called a female. They called her. I remember the brother who was that brother who with the pimp thing. I distinctly recall him using a is somebody like really doing extra noises in the background?
I don't know what that was.
I heard that too. That was weird.
So, but I'm just saying that there are definitely some takes and opinions on this show that I would say that reflect views that have a lesser view of women, not as far as lesser than human, but definitely lesser than men. And it's one thing to distinguish offices. I respect the concept of saying a man head of the household, or there's physically things that a man can do that a woman can't do. There are things a woman can do that a man can't do. Give birth, you know what I'm saying? So, it's okay for those things to be different, but I'm just saying that based on certain things that are said, I don't know. I feel like Kamala, there's particularly Kamala Harris. Let's call her Harris, because for that very same thing, and Floyd X has been on this. He's saying that we should refer to her as Harris, not Kamala. But she's getting scrutiny and this she's not just getting scrutiny, but she's getting name called things that just wouldn't happen if she were a man. I'm just the fact that you're calling her a slut, calling her a whore, calling her whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I hear like a lot of sound going on in the background.
What was that?
They're like,
I'm muted.
I'll mute while someone else is talking here. I'm gonna mute now.
All right. But yeah, I don't think we have men on here who hate women or think less of women. I mean, I think what it looks like is that when we attacking or we saying something against Miss Harris, it's because it sounds hard because she's a woman, and it seems like that. Now, I never used the term, the B word or the H word to describe her, and I can't think of nobody else that's here right now who has said that. But go ahead, Mr. Afro.
So I'm just saying that the sexism is a system of oppression. That means it's in the air we breathe, it's in the language we speak, it's in the ideas that we've accepted. We haven't even, because we don't challenge it, we don't see it. It's kind of like when you didn't really notice a pair of shoes until you got them, but then you start seeing it more because you're more aware. We're not aware of it in the same way that white people were oblivious to the how we suffer from racism. That's the privilege of being in a superior position. If I take it, and I'm advocating for women, I describe myself, you remember, as a feminist, as a womanist, and I'm saying that if I were to take an implicit bias test that they have at Stanford, I would register my biases would show. No one in here is bias free. Of course, we have bias. Even look in the language Walt used, crying like a little girl. What does that mean? Crying like a little girl. It's all perpetuating certain patriarchal values.
You're using the girl as a reference that's negative, but in doing so, it's kind of an insult to a girl. And I do the same thing, Walk. So I'm not like knocking you. I
would argue it's not negative. You know what I mean? It's okay to cry. You know what I mean? But then the thing is that when it comes to masculinity, oftentimes that is something that's not necessarily associated with being a strong man. You know what I mean?
Hold on. I gotta agree with Big Cuz. He said we're going off topic. Let's reel it back in. We'll save the.
I mean, to a degree, the brother was talking about how this sexism plays the role in the fact that there is this what I will refer to as a mythical double standard that exists, with this campaign. So I don't think it's necessarily off topic. The bottom line is that me personally, I don't feel there's a double standard at all. I just think that people are passionate about their candidates.
Let's get into the Lord Jamar topic or Lord Jamar statement and Joe Brown. Yeah, they had some disparaging words. We got the video of Lord Jamar speaking, and we'll discuss whether this is what's the term?
Over the top.
Let's go.
Well, I feel that she's so bad that guess what? I might just go around and vote for Trump. And this is my first time saying this out loud. But y'all think you're going to shame somebody or bully into voting for this? Absolutely not.
All right, so just that part right there. He said y'all going to shame somebody into voting for this B word. And now, if I'm not mistaken, I heard him say that he was saying that on or something. Mr. Nice Guy told me that.
No. He said, This is a video that Afro Agnostic sent to me like maybe 2 a.m. But he was talking about is this in context of hip hop, but I'm just like, nah, it's still inappropriate, especially you putting this out here for everybody to consume. The bottom line is and
what does it say for hip hop? Popular Black youth culture. It's inescapable. If you're a hip hop fan, that rubs in your skin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is disrespectful. It's disrespect. It was disrespectful to tie it to hip hop. It's disrespectful to tie it to her. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's to me that's the double standard right there on its face.
Well, I'm confused. So calling her a B was disrespectful to hip hop, is what you're trying to say?
No, that he tried to make an excuse by saying that, oh, when I said that, I was like doing it like, in hip hop terms. I was, on a hip hop platform or something. I'm saying that's how he explained it away when he was challenged. Because Homeboy was like, look, they were on Piers Morgan. And I forgot what the dude's name was, but he's like, Lord Jamar.
Mark Lamont here. Mark Lamont.
And he goes, look, I got a lot of respect for you. I got a respect for the nation of gods and earths. And you're supposed to be of this. But here you go saying, whatever, how could you do that? And he just was like, well, this is a different platform. I wouldn't say that here. I mean, that was the context, but that was like hip hop or something, whatever. And I'm just like, it's still not cool. You did it in front of a camera. You did it for the world. You know what I'm saying? It's disrespectful, and it is fundamentally sexist. I'm just saying that, when you talk about Joe Brown, we don't have the video of Joe Brown, but Joe Brown goes hard.
Oh yeah,
hard.
That's Joe. Yeah, that's Joe.
And I'm just saying that it's
well, him
now,
saying
when you say that's Joe, what do you mean by that, Brother Charles? Is it okay for him to say it?
Well, no. So again, I've never used I shouldn't say never, but I definitely, am not a big proponent of calling anyone out their name, a female or whatnot. But going back to this hip hop culture, were you saying that because he said on Piers Morgan versus on a hip hop platform, that's where, the insult or injury was taking place?
You should never refer to some grown up woman that, that's a grown woman, that's your senior. Especially someone that's just running for such a big position. I mean, the bottom line is you don't just call.
Oh, you adding all that extra on it. Okay, well, I'm just saying in terms of hip hop in general, it has not been uncommon to call a female a B and much worse. You know what I mean? Just in general, So, I just, I took it that the brother was being candid, like he was talking with, the homeboys, what I mean, and the people, what I mean, that, are his peers and whatnot. And that would be real similar language if you have a strong dislike, for an individual, what I mean?
That's absolutely true. You know what? That's absolutely true. But the thing was, he
no.
was on a hip hop platform when he was saying this.
No, but that's okay. Let me jump in and jump out real quick. But that's not the thing. Whether it's done in the football locker room, in the barbershop, between two men together on a white platform, is sexist. And the point that I was making, I mean, the point that it really exposes is that hip hop culture, which is really black culture, is very sexist. I mean, I would strongly recommend you read books by women activists, black women activists, Assata Shakur, Ella Baker. They talk about the sexism. Ella Baker started SNCC. They stuffed her in this tiny little room. They didn't have no women on the SCLC board. Look at the March on Washington, all men except Mahalia Jackson. Who was really the organizers? That's when we really talk about labor, the labor power and the social movements. It's really the women. So I mean, this whole thing that
we're hanging out in the sexist area, but we're trying to
I don't disagree that sexism doesn't exist. You know what I mean? I definitely, agree that there is a such thing as sexism. The question is this disrespect to Kamala Harris? Does this represent a double standard? And is this sexism, or is this that people have strong emotions about who she is, her authenticity, and is she best person to lead the country?
How would you feel if he referred to your mother as a bitch?
Bro, I wouldn't feel happy that anybody referred to anyone I know or love outside their name. You know what I mean? Period. But again, going back to hip hop culture, really, I mean, that has been the norm. So it doesn't strike me as odd that, that was the vernacular that the brother used. You know what I mean? It's not, out of this realm to think that, oh, okay, this brother said this, you know what I mean? There's been lots of people that have been disrespected, called. In fact, there's a whole, a murder that exists within the culture, among even other artists behind the disrespect, that is prevalent, inside of the culture. You know what I mean? So it's just not shocking.
I think we made some progress, though. I think we made some progress.
Hold on real quick. Because it's doing the same thing. He calling Trump by his last name and Kamala for her first name. Come on, because get with the times and be proper, brother. Be proper.
Yeah, but I mean, look, so let's talk about that. So, what is Harris really her real name? I mean, she married this a Jewish dude. You know, is there a hyphen? Is there a hyphen that's there, or you know, what I mean, what's going on? You know, what I mean, or was that for show? I mean, I don't know. You know. So, but the bottom line is that again, you know, I think to a degree, you know, it has nothing to do with sexism. It has something to do with there are a lot of men and people in general that do not respect Kamala Harris. I say VP Harris oftentimes too. I go back and forth, you know what I mean? And sometimes with Trump, I call him the Don, you know, Donald, you know what I mean? You know, Mr. T.
Yeah. Is that his real name?
You know what I mean?
Is that his real name? Is that his real name? Do you even think about scrutinizing stuff like that? I mean, you know, his parents.
Yeah, I mean, I played football, so it wasn't uncommon for athletes and whatnot, men to refer to each other by their last name. It had nothing to do with sexism. It was just that was the name on the back of our jersey, and that's what we called each other. You know what I mean?
Well, so I think we made some strides in the discussion because we kind of went from it doesn't exist, it's not a system of oppression, to it does exist, but it's not that impactful. I think we made some gains there.
No, I never said sexism doesn't exist. You know, you know, clearly there's a sexism that exists. You know.
Go ahead, Walt. Go ahead, Walt.
Let me read a quote from Kamala Harris' husband. He said, "Don't be calling my bitch a bitch." Come on, let's move on.
Man, I'm gonna play this up first. I don't want our brother Lebron trucking pulling his ass talking about, man, don't put me on this show. I'm gonna play it real quick. Hopefully he won't call in and say not to play his commercial no more. All right, I regretfully inform everybody that Mr. Walk has been fired from this show. Let's play this joke. All right. Real quick, we got a comment from our first lady, and I believe she's real serious. So we got to take some seriousness in what she's saying. She says the disrespect is real. So I mean, are we being disrespectful as men on this show to Kamala Harris because she's a woman? We have to really
no.
No.
I'm not. Me personally, you know.
Also, there's the B word use. I mean, you know, obviously, I think that would objectively be considered disrespectful. And again, to me, there's three words. There's three words that really hit on a different level: the N word, the F word, you know, that's the derogatory gay F word, and then the B word. These are three words that are used by people that don't apply to that. But it's sort of like when you're saying someone's crying like a girl, you're using something else as a reference to something that's low down. That's what really takes these three words to a whole different level. So I always say that when someone else says it, it's just like a white person saying the N word. It hits different than a black person saying the N word. And I'm saying a man using the B word hits different than a female using the B word. Same as with gay and the F word. So that's why I'm saying that B word is really dangerous territory and it's fundamentally disrespectful.
And let me
females call themselves that on the regular.
Let me put it out there. Let me put it out there that we try to we attempt to bring more women on the show to try to keep it balanced, but a lot of them they turn down the offer or the invite. So we would love for women, if you want to come on this show and stand at least bring balance for women, you're more than welcome to come on the show. We would love to have you on the show and you speak your part and you will be respected on the show. First lady, she never gets disrespected on this show. Never. We hold the women in high regard and respect them and respect the boundaries. So
straight up. In the meantime, we have Afro agnostics. He gonna hold y'all down until y'all come up on the show. You know what I mean? So it's all good.
So that having been said, the little slide. That's right. Because he's talking about, he's like, man, I didn't push back.
I'm keeping it real. You know, brother's doing a good job defending that position, holding it down.
And again, we're not a monolith here, and we got all respect for each other, and we got all genuine love for each other. And we all got genuine love for women, regardless of how it's expressed or portrayed. So that having been said, let's talk about the Central Park Five. I brought up this article, and sadly, a whole bunch of sound came up. So, but I wanted to say that.
What's up with you, brother?
So, so members of the Central Park Five filed a defamation suit against former President Donald Trump on Monday, accusing him of spreading false and misleading and defamatory statements about their 1989 case. He said that they, I guess, admitted guilt, ignoring the fact that, they actually caught the dude that actually did it. Sorry about that. My thing's messing up. But I didn't realize that. I didn't hear about this, but they actually caught the dude, because they had DNA, and the DNA showed that, that they weren't, that none of them were basically tied to the incident. But, the dude that came out and confessed it, his DNA matched. So they literally caught the person that actually raped her, who said that I did it alone by his lonesome. So, those cats really caught a raw deal just because of, not only the accusations, but just how the police never even, admitted what they did was wrong. So,
and then my question is, did Trump ever apologize for that? Never did. And those are some of the characteristics of a fascist. When you look at Franco in Spain, Mussolini in Italy, these are like strong, assertive men, kind of tying back to the theme of patriarchy. Real men don't apologize. Real men don't acquiesce. And, that's a throwback, real strong. And that's why Trump is attractive to that crowd as well.
What I would say is that he's an asshole. You know what I mean? That's what, not a fascist, but an asshole. You know what I mean? And the thing is that, if he had me on his campaign, and he would be crushing the vote. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about it, because he could have just dealt with this very, very smoothly and just admit, that he was wrong. You know what I mean? And that there's some things he could have did different and said different, corrected himself, and kept it moving. And that would have scored a lot more points from people who are on the sideline and who are still undecided.
But why didn't he?
Because he's a privileged,
not fascist, but an asshole, brother.
No, because he's a privileged white man that always got his way all of his life. He doesn't have to apologize. In fact, he didn't apologize. He doubled down and said they still should be in jail.
That's fascist characteristics. Those are characteristics that you would see in a fascist.
So yes. Trump was the man. The Central Park 5 scenario is when I originally lost it for Trump. He still feels like they should be in jail.
Yeah, someone was sitting there talking about how Trump was embraced by the hip hop community and all this stuff. And it's Trump was embraced by everybody. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just that. He was a person, they were talking about on that Fred Rogan podcast that, when Trump was being introduced on The View, Whoopi Goldberg's like my longtime friend, and it was all friendly back in 2016 and stuff like that. But at some point it changed. Fred Rogan, if I say his name, not Fred Rogan, Joe Rogan was making an argument that the machine decided to turn on him. I would say that Trump's actual, speaking points and things that he said is what forced people to turn on him. So, but I didn't mean to, was there something else that you was about to say? I didn't mean to.
You talking about inauthenticity. A person that flip-flop was once a Democrat, then be Republican, repeatedly said he wouldn't run for office, then becomes president. You talking about authenticity.
It's okay to flip-flop, but I love to hear Walk. Walk always gets on me about flip-flop, but I like to consider it growing, so.
True, it can be
if you prove me wrong, then I want to be right. I don't want to be right. I want to get it right. So that's where I'm coming from. But
True.
Anybody else? Are we finished with this? I don't see a lot of energy on
the last thing I want to add is just to follow up with Mr. Lebrea's comment, and I get it. I get that perspective, because there are several things we could look at from Trump, that, backs many of us away, from wanting to support that campaign, even though there are lots on the Democratic side that we just do not agree with, but, I shouldn't say, but, what I would add is that, in reference to one of the best and most, admirable attributes of manhood is, not acting in an emotional way, making an emotional decision, but just actually being more, thoughtful about how we're going to move. And when it comes, to, the Trump campaign, and then looking at it in contrast to the Democrats' platform, I think that's ultimately where people got to look, and see how the scales tip, in which favor, who is who at the end of the day, what would be your best interest? Not just, one incident, per se.
So fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalistic political ideology and movement characterized by dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition. I'm just saying, you're talking about forcible suppression of opposition. He's talking about going after people, the opponents. He's talking about firing people that disagree with him, just employees, not necessarily people in his cabinet. You're just talking about basically people that work in fundamental government positions. You're talking about authoritarian. You're talking about a person who speaks glowingly about dictators, whether it be, the Korean guy, whether it be the, Putin, whether it be this, that, and the other. I mean, when you talk about ultra nationalistic political ideology, you're talking about someone who shuns globalism as far as, working with other people, sharing their resources for, economies of scales. I'm just saying that fundamentally, these things hammer in the definition of fascism that literally applied to Donald Trump.
Almost everything you said, the Democrats are involved in right now as we speak. We don't have to wonder what's going to happen. They're doing it right now. I don't care if it's the support that other nations who are actually that, again, going back to Ukraine, that's not a democracy over there at all. Israel clearly is an apartheid state. We can go on and on. The Trump and the different legal challenges and problems that he's had, since he hasn't been in the role, they've done it.
He's actually guilty of.
I think we're kind of saying the same. I think we're kind of describing the same thing. Both are leading us towards fascism, but one at a slow pace and one at a fast pace. Trump is the fast pace.
That was one of my favorite quotes that you had on the show before. You were like, look, I'm not a supporter of the Democrats, not a big fan of Kamala Harris, but, Trump will fast track us, put us on the fast track to fascism. That was a great comment that you made many shows back. So,
but is that the fast track we should be concerned with, or should we be more concerned of who has us on a fast track headed to World War III right now? It's not the Trump campaign at all.
Great argument. That's the flip side of the argument. It's a great argument. That's what Brother Youssef says, and to me, that's legitimate. When you talk about the threat of World War III, there's no question in my mind that Trump is less of a threat to that with respect, because he'll just capitulate. He's just going to tuck his tail,
But what was the cause of World War III? Imperialism and fascism.
I would say greed.
I'm sorry, World War II and World War I, specifically. No, there's no greed. It was clearly an imperialist war going on between empires. That's why the whole world was involved, because their colonies, they involved their own colonies. Empires, that was an empire war. And fascism was a driving force. Ultranationalism was a driving force of World War I and World War II.
Hold on a second. Because just asked a question. He said, or made a statement. I can't click on it for whatever reason, or maybe we're both did it. First of all, this is a fact that they're an apartheid state. Okay, this is not even. That's the question. My stance has been solid when it comes to this cannot be disputed. When you're talking about, we did the show, didn't we talk about Ta-Nehisi Coates? The situation where he's talking about that literally when you go places, they're like, you have to profess your faith. You can't go here. They can go there and stuff like that. It's just like, drinking fountains with us and stuff like that. And, in the 60s or before the 60s and stuff like that. So there's no question. It's 100% an apartheid state. They argue that they have to do that for security reasons. But again, it's an apartheid state. You got citizenship. There's one level of people that have access to this, and a whole nother level of people that don't have access to any of that. That's a fact. That's a fact.
It's also a fascist.
Hey, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Let's
move on to the Let's jump to the Abercrombie and Finch. What's going on with that? Is that in the news or that a topic?
Well, it's there's a lot going on there. We're talking about all this P. Diddy and stuff like that. We like to point out when the other people do all of this crazy type of stuff. So, let me see if I can pull up the article on this. But if anybody wants to jump in, if they know specifically what's going on.
The two CEOs at Abercrombie and Fitch, they've been involved in I think international sex trafficking, and it was unusual because we live in a world of patriarchy. It involved men. Men were the primary victims. They were, like a male homosexual sex trafficking. That's what they've been accused of. They'll get people on the casting chair, promising things, like Puff did, Homegirl, her album.
Allegedly.
Yeah, so that, allegedly.
Yeah, because I know that there were the male models. They were basically saying that, we'll hook you up with being a male model, but in order to do that, you need to come to me on the side room and take care of me and stuff like that. They were doing all type of crazy stuff like that,
involving the same stuff: drugs, parties, abuse, and entrapment, all that stuff. But with males, that's what makes it kind of unique.
I mean, you ever see their clothes? I mean, it's kind of
come on, straight up.
I don't know.
Hey, I knew something was wrong with them. I knew something was wrong with them years ago. When I went into one of their stores and tried on a pair of pants, I couldn't find none that fit. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh man, there's something fishy going on here. You know what I mean?
Penis was getting in the way. But so that's that on Abercrombie and Finch. One thing we didn't talk about that was kind of, I know we don't want to be very political, but Mr. Elon Musk, he did this $1 million giveaway to voters. So what he said is they went to swing states. You can only be eligible for this in swing states. And the bottom line is all you had to do was sign this contract that you support, like the First Amendment and the Second Amendment or something like that, some type of contract. And then you had to register to vote. If you did that, that puts you in the name for a drawing where you could win $1 million. And that is super illegal. I mean, they were the ones that made it super illegal. You can't even give people water in line, for voting and stuff like that. But this dude is sitting there, giving, the opportunity for people to win $1 million, and people are winning it. So, it's just, and this is like expressly forbidden. So, they're kind of backing away from it or whatever. But I'm just saying that this is the type of stuff that if the Democrats would be doing this, it would have been a super outrage. But,
I wish California was a swing state.
That's true. Because I'd be putting mine out like unregistered and registered.
Hey, real quick, who can address the McDonald's E. coli outbreak? What's that about?
Yes. I mean, I don't know too much about other than the fact that I'm not surprised. That there was a breakout E. coli. That to me, that's probably about the least of what you could have go wrong with you eating at McDonald's.
You know what? You notice that this outbreak happened after somebody went there working. I'm just saying, I ain't trying to make no correlation. I'm just saying. Because I mean, look, this his hands clean. He's even wearing gloves on the other hand. I'm just saying, but hey, But anyways, yes.
It's a conspiracy.
That's a conspiracy.
I think they said there's been a link between the E. coli found in the onion and Trump's hands. I think there was some type of connection.
Yeah, that bullshit has been translated into your food. But but no, it's particularly with the quarter pounders for some reason. Like, like the meat from the other stuff, it's coming from a different, source or something.
It's
like
not the meat. It was the onions, actually. It's the onions.
Really?
They had traced it to a source out here in California. I think it's called Taylor Farms or something like that. But anyway, it prompted KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut to actually pull some items too. So, but I don't even know why people even eat at these places anyway, because it's safer to eat at home.
Yeah, that you know you eating fake meat. McDonald's cows would have been extinct by now. You know what I'm saying?
And plus the point
it's
of
but
actually
it's affordable. But it's affordable.
Yeah.
So do we want to talk about LeBron and Bronny making history? What's y'all take on that? What's the how y'all feel about that?
Hey, the way I feel about it, that look, for some reason, it's first of all, it's amazing that you have a father and son to able to have that. You're in that, just the opportunity. That's great. I know a lot of people feel like the youngster doesn't deserve it. Even though I point out the fact that he was highly rated before he got injured, before he had his heart virtually exploded, and he's still coming back. But he's shown in those games that he's a tenacious defender at the one, which is an asset if you can get him to perform with some consistency. Look, he's just a project. He was picked the 55th pick in the second round. Most of these cats are just kind of like whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a big deal.
How you feel about it, but Charles? How you feel about it?
But I feel that I don't know what's more manufactured: the Lebron and Bronny, first, father-son duo, playing in the NBA, or Kamala Harris being the first, black female, running for president. I have no idea which one is more manufactured.
Oh, so she is black.
On another note too, though, what do y'all feel about Bronny being called a nepo baby?
He is. I agree. I think he is.
Poster child for nepotism.
Nothing.
I mean, his opportunity, his athletes have been influenced by him being LeBron's son. But that happens everywhere. So it's like, why is it now an issue when it's the black people taking advantage of it? When you have all these executives.
I don't think it's an issue.
This is a great opportunity to blame the patriarchy right here, right now in this situation, right here. You know what I mean?
You're blaming the whiteyarchy. That's what it is. Because again, you have people like Bill Belichick, who's got his sons as assistant coaches and stuff like that. You got Trump, who put his daughter and whatever, his sons or whatever in his cabinet. You know what I'm saying? So these people that don't particularly have any expertise, whatever. I'm just saying it happens everywhere. So my point is that why is the spotlight on it when the black people do?
I agree. That's what I was. So I feel like the biggest nepotism is white nepotism, hands down. So why they're bringing it up now? Because I didn't even know that. Why is the word being coined now?
I'll tell you why we're bringing it up, because we as Laker fans, I don't want to see him glamorize his damn son just so he can have a historic moment. The team is in shambles with that little dude running and scrambling around the court. He's not that good. My son used to play basketball. My son said, I ain't played in like 2 years. I think I could D him up. Come on, man. Get Bronny off. Get Bronny. And he ain't even James Jr. Why he got James Jr. on his back? Come on, man. Get him out of here.
That's a good point. Nepotism does breed mediocrity.
Again, I want to point out the fact that again he's the 55th pick. The Lakers are 2-0, dominating. His jersey is blowing the hell up. The people cheer for like crazy when he's out there. He's going to make the G League. He's going to the G League, and the G League is going to get all type of publicity out there. So I'm just saying that the bottom line is he has a amazing following that's objectively linked to him. So there again, the people root for him. So I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that have this animosity and this negativity. Hey, the Lakers are a team that people hate. So it's just like the Cowboys. It is what it is. But that having been said, you'll hear the biggest cheers when he comes in or when he takes a shot. So we'll see how it plays out. Nothing's promised. He's got to earn the ability to stay. You can say that he got in because of nepotism, but whether he stays is going to be a function of whether he can actually deliver the goods, because LeBron ain't going to be here forever.
Straight up, because even Pippen Jr. is doing pretty good right now. You know what I mean? He used to be on the Lakers here for a little bit. So the positive about this is LeBron has been a wonderful example and role model, for men in a lot of ways. Despite his Democrat leanings, in terms of him, being the character, had the character that he had inside of the league, and the representation. I applaud that for straight up.
All right. Well, let's what's that? You clapping? Let's go to
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Let's touch on the big news. For those that are into hip hop, we know Little Durk was arrested in Broward County earlier this week, and they said he was attempting to flee. He bought four different. He what you call that? Scheduled chartered four different flights. I guess thinking that he was gonna get away, but apparently they got him, arrested him, and threw him in jail. And they have a mugshot of him. I'll bring the mugshot up real quick. And from what I understand, this is in retaliation to when King Von was murdered by a rapper named Quando Rondo, and then in L.A.
No, his buddy Little Tim shot him for Quando Rondo.
Correct. So he shot him in self-defense, and I believe he got off. He didn't go to jail behind that murder or that shooting. It was self-defense. And so now they retaliated in like Beverly Hills at a gas station, and they got it all on video. And I think they got, according to DJ Academics, they may have somebody who's cooperating because they gave details that Little Dirk is put up a hit on the dude. Somebody, whoever get him, gonna get some money. And they was like the car or something was rented with the his record label's credit card. So I mean, that's just something in the news.
I hope it was more than $800. I hope it was
get your money up front.
But Little Dirk, you ran too late, bro. You should have been ran. Like he was trying to go to Italy, get up out of here. I don't want to call him guilty, but yeah, they do have an inside that has been cooperating with the police, and they have text messages, and like who does that? But
yeah, they went to a McDonald's and talked about it, and relived it, I guess, from what I understand.
I'm breaking up.
That's dumb. Just dumb.
Yeah, I want to know who put the hit on Trump. You know, that's what I really want to know. You know what I mean? The two, you know, so.
It was probably Lil Durk too.
Man.
Hey. That's a joke. All right, so Mr. El Pooh, what we got going on Spin That Back today?
Oh man, we got a good show today, bro. We're gonna be talking about the late great Heavy D. Yes, sir. We're gonna go through his catalog and everything in the 90s, 80s and 90s actually, and we're gonna talk about him. Keep the name alive. I love Heavy D.
Heavy D.
So tune in at 10:30. Heavy D gonna Spin That Back.
10:30 a.m. That's a little bit over 30 minutes from now. So, you know, after this goes, you go to that and you represent for some of that Spin That Back.
Pacifics.
It's been 4 weeks, brother. I'm glad to see you back, brother. Let me tell you, I'm glad to see you back.
Glad to be back.
All right. So we're gonna end it on that. Everybody good? Got their statements out, what they want to speak on?
Hey, like, subscribe, share, promote. And again, this show was an effort to show you the other side. You know, it's not just about, you know, bashing the sister, Vice President Harris. So again, you know, like, we're not a monolith. We got people on both sides that we're not an echo chamber here, you know. So we got diverse positions and, you know, valid positions, and we are people that show respect and have respect. We may not always show respect, but we always have respect. So that having been said, anybody else got
I got one more thing to say. I want to personally thank you, Mr. Nice Guy, for pretty much putting the show together by yourself. It's greatly appreciated. You hold the castle down and you help us continue to build what we're trying to build here as being a part of the new black media. So thank you very much, Mr. Nice Guy, and we'll keep it pushing. And we thank you to all of our viewers who watch the show. We appreciate y'all, and we hope that we can keep it fair and non-biased and not be leaning too more. Say that again.
Not being sexist or over chauvinistic. You know.
Yes. So we'll work to improve. We'll work to improve our faults, and we're not ashamed of admitting when we're wrong. And on that note, we out.
Yo.